In 1990, as a NATO request, FN developed the 5.7 by 28 for armor penetration to replace the 9mm in PDWs. They developed the P90 and then the 5.7 handgun that we have here. Despite being around for over 30 years at this point, the 5.7 hasn't gained mass adoption or popularity, but it also hasn't disappeared either. One of the deterrents for the 5.7 has always been the price of ammo, which has really been starting to improve with the Fiocchi and AAC FMJ on the market today, and the price of the handgun, with the 5.7 being a little over $1,000 MSRP, a lot of people just didn't want to spend that kind of money to get into another cartridge. Palmetto State Armory has been around for a while now. A lot of people know them for their AR-15s, and they didn't have the greatest reputation when they started out. They've been starting to improve. They've been building AKs, the Dagger, which is a Glock clone, and now they've built this Rock, which is chambered in 5.7. The Rock comes in a pretty nice padded case, and it comes with only one 23-round magazine. The ergonomics are nothing crazy. They kept it really simple. Grip really feels great in my hand. It's a very narrow grip, so if you have smaller hands, I think this feels excellent. Unlike the 5.7, which is an internal hammer-fired gun, this is a striker-fired handgun. So the trigger has a little bit of that mushy feeling. It's relatively heavy, but again, I haven't fired this pistol yet, so I would compare it to be a lot like a Glock. One thing I found a little bit weird is the design of the rail. A Surefire X300 has to sit way out here, which is just a little bit strange to me, that it won't seat any farther back. This is kind of an aggressive angle here on the trigger guard. I unfortunately don't have any other brand lights to test on here to see if there's a light that sits back a little bit farther, but just kind of a little odd design quirk here. And out of the box, the Rock was extremely stiff. It was almost difficult to actually get the gun disassembled. I was not a huge fan of the disassembly process either. There's a takedown lever right here, which is in the top of the trigger guard. Just kind of strange, something I'm not personally used to, but once I got apart, wiped everything down, lubricated it really well, locked the slide back, left it like that for a couple weeks. I think it feels a lot smoother now, so we're going to start breaking this thing in, put quite a few rounds through it, I hope, and kind of compare it to the FN 5.7. We're keeping in mind here that this gun MSRP is for half the price of the FN 5.7. So this isn't a gun that we're trying to directly compare to the 5.7 and think that it's better or state that it's worse. We're simply trying to see if for this price point, can you get into the 5.7 cartridge if that's something that you're interested in. If you follow Mr. Guns and Gear on X or anything like that, he posts tons of deals all day long, every day. One day I saw him post this. I can't remember if it was new or if it was a blem, but I honestly don't see any blemishes on this handgun. But it was $319. For that price, I knew that I just had to pick this up and give it a try. That's just a small fraction of the cost compared to the FN option. So I'm really curious as my first PSA product to see how this thing shoots. All right, so starting off, we have some Fiocchi 40 grain FMJ. And the magazine doesn't want to seat all the way with 23 rounds in it. So let's lock the slide back. Now it inserts all the way. Drop the slide. We're at 7 yards. First shots. And already a malfunction. Just trying to double feed there. So, okay, we have a round in there. And this time the round is just kind of pointed upward. Failure to feed there. Again, this gun is brand spanking new, so as stiff as it was out of the box, I do expect it to have some sort of break-in period. So let's try and get some rounds through it quickly here. Okay, that's wild. Okay, this thing's really struggling. I've never had an issue with Fiocchi ammunition before, so I don't want to blame the ammo here. First magazine is having quite a few failures to feed. Okay, end of that magazine. Okay, so this is a partial mag. It is the AAC 5.7 ammunition, FMJ. They have this kind of coating on it that is pretty interesting. I think it's supposed to help with feeding, but AAC is a brand of PSA to my knowledge. So we're gonna see how it likes their own ammo. And slide is stuck but did not feed. Make sure round did not go in. Was going good there for a minute. Strange. It's not chambering. And lock back. That's all the AAC that I have, so we will be switching ammo again. We'll try some FN next. All right, and now we have some FN branded 40 grain with the Hornady VMAX bullets. See how this does. Oh, feeding issue there. And for whatever reason, it is not wanting to grab the next round. Click and no bang. It did not chamber. And that's all for that magazine. So I feel like that ammunition, the FN, shot a little bit better than the other types. So we're gonna just keep putting more rounds through it and see if it starts to break in a little bit more. All right, so first Leo is going to shoot the FN 5.7 Mark II. All right, go ahead and shoot the PSA rock now.
Battery, stovepipe, stovepipe, three failures of feed, so we got reliability. reliability issues.
It's going really well for a while.
I will say it shoots nice. The trigger's nice on it, but reliability is an issue. Four failures of feed. Five failures to feed. It shoots nice, but it's apparently not reliable. It needs to be cleaned better, broken in better.
More Fiocchi 40 grain FMJ. It's going good there for just a second. Seems to like the top half of the magazine a little bit more than the bottom half. Not convinced that the issue is something with the gun. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of this magazine. So again, I'm not trying to make a direct comparison here or anything, but I am going to shoot the FN57 and then I'm going to shoot the Rock again. You can tell immediately that the frame of the Rock is much slimmer. This texturing is, I guess, a bit smoother in a way, but it does feel really nice in the hand. Despite the reliability issues, I do think the trigger on the Rock is maybe a little bit lighter. I said it felt mushy before under dry fire, but under live fire, I don't have any major complaints with it. I am just hoping that it starts breaking in a little bit more. I'll admit to not keeping perfect round count on this, but I did bring about 300 rounds with me today, and I've already been through roughly, I want to say about 200 rounds of that, and this thing is still having a lot of feeding issues. I don't know exactly what to blame. I feel like the first half of the magazine goes a lot smoother than the bottom half, where it seems like every other round is kind of tending to have some sort of feeding issue, whether it's double feeding or it's just failing to feed one round. Maybe it's a magazine issue and that the design of these magazines is just not the greatest thing and the gun itself is fine. The gun actually shoots pretty darn well, so if this thing does break in, I think it's a pretty fantastic gun, you know, regardless of the price point. This is just something that even if this does break in, you will need to factor that into your overall purchase price. Is it worth spending in my case, $320 on this gun and then spending a lot on the ammunition to break in the gun before it's actually reliable? Range time is definitely not a bad thing, so putting those rounds through the gun, learning to clear those malfunctions efficiently, effectively, those are all good things. But whether or not you want to kind of put yourself through all of that, it's not exactly a fun process. And just as one more alternative to consider, that's kind of a midpoint in between this Palmetto State Armory Rock and the FN57 is the Smith & Wesson. The Smith & Wesson I've heard a lot of good things about as well. I'm a big fan of the ergonomics on their current M&P 2.0 series. This video feels way more like a burn down video than I intended it to be. Kind of expected some sort of a break-in period, but I didn't think it's gonna go anything like this.